It was a chaotic scene in the apocalyptic world of The Walking Dead as Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller found themselves infected and corrupted by a mysterious gaseous substance from a meteor. Their glowing eyes revealed their new powers as they transformed into indestructible warriors with glowing long-sleeve shirts, pants, and footwear covering their bodies. The four brutes wasted no time in unleashing their newfound abilities, using their unique fighting styles with increased speed and agility. The brightness of their glowing eyes intensified as they summoned weapons out of thin air and created shockwaves and explosions that tore through the snowy landscape, obliterating any walkers in their path. As they clashed and fought with each other, the world around them descended into chaos. The snowfall seemed unending, adding a surreal element to the battle as their glowing eyes illuminated the winter landscape. Each brute displayed incredible strength and resilience, their glowing eyes allowing them to heal and regenerate from any injury. The fight raged on, each brute pushing themselves to the limit as they unleashed devastating attacks on one another. The intensity of their battle created a thrilling spectacle, with anime-style backlit postures and explosive energy radiating from their bodies. Despite the destruction they unleashed, the four brutes seemed unstoppable. Their glowing eyes pulsed with power, fueling their relentless assault on each other. The snowy world around them served as a backdrop to their epic clash, the sound of explosions and roaring winds echoing through the air. As the fight wore on, it became clear that none of them would emerge unscathed. The power they wielded was immense, but their glowing eyes spoke of a deeper connection to the world around them. It was as if they were tapping into a primal force, one that thrummed with energy and raw power. In the end, the four brutes stood exhausted but victorious. Their glowing eyes dimmed as they surveyed the devastation around them. The snow-covered landscape was littered with the aftermath of their battle, a stark reminder of the power they possessed. As they caught their breath, a sense of camaraderie forged in the heat of battle. Despite their differences, the four brutes shared a bond that transcended their individual strengths. They may have been low-tier gaming characters, but in that moment, they were legends. And so, the tale of Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller would be passed down through the ages. Their epic battle in the snowy wasteland of The Walking Dead would be remembered as a testament to their strength, resilience, and the power of their glowing eyes. Words. 438. The snow continued to fall relentlessly as the four glowing-eyed characters clashed and battled with each other in the midst of the Telltale's Walking Dead in-game world. Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller seemed to be locked in an eternal struggle, their glowing eyes brightening as they summoned weapons and unleashed devastating attacks upon each other. Kiryu, with his green glowing eyes, moved with lightning speed as he dodged Trevor's fiery blasts and Joel's powerful punches. His fighting style was fluid and precise, his movements almost like a dance as he countered each attack with ease. Trevor, with his orange glowing eyes, unleashed a barrage of explosive fireballs that lit up the snowy landscape. His brute strength was unmatched, and he sent shockwaves through the ground with every punch he threw. Arthur, with his red glowing eyes, was a master of strategy and precision. His bullets never missed their mark, and he was able to anticipate his opponent's movements with uncanny accuracy. He moved with a grace that belied his rugged appearance, his glowing eyes like embers in the darkness. Joel, with his gray glowing eyes, fought with a fierce determination that bordered on desperation. His attacks were relentless, his punches and kicks landing with bone-shattering force. He was a wild card in the battle, unpredictable and dangerous. As the four brutes continued to clash, the Telltale's Walking Dead world around them began to crumble and shake. The snowfall intensified, obscuring their movements and adding to the chaos of the battle. Walkers were blown away by the shockwaves and explosions, their bodies torn apart by the ferocity of the fight. But amidst the destruction, a strange kind of harmony began to emerge. The four glowing-eyed characters, each with their own unique fighting style, found a kind of rhythm in their battle. Their attacks and counterattacks flowed together seamlessly, creating a symphony of destruction that echoed through the snowy landscape. As the battle raged on, the four brutes began to realize that they were more alike than they had initially thought. They were all outcasts, misfits in their respective worlds, but here in the Telltale's Walking Dead in-game world, they found a kind of camaraderie in their shared struggle. And so, as the snow continued to fall and the walkers continued to be blown away by the force of their attacks, Kiryu, Trevor, Arthur, and Joel fought not as enemies but as allies. They worked together, their glowing eyes brightening with a newfound sense of purpose, as they unleashed a final, devastating attack that shook the very foundations of the world. And as the dust settled and the snow began to clear, the four brutes stood victorious, their glowing eyes dimming as they looked around at the destruction they had wrought. But amidst the chaos, a sense of peace settled over them, as they realized that in each other, they had found a kind of family. And so, the four low-tier gaming brutes, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, stood together in the Telltale's Walking Dead in-game world, their glowing eyes a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. And as the snow continued to fall, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as one. Words. 550. The Telltale's Walking Dead in-game world was plunged into chaos as Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller found themselves transformed by a mysterious gaseous substance from a meteor from outer space. Their glowing eyes and newfound powers led them to clash with each other in a battle that shook the very foundation of the world. Kiryu, with his green glowing eyes, used his incredible speed and agility to dodge attacks from the others. His martial arts skills were unmatched as he landed powerful blows on his opponents, sending them flying through the air. Meanwhile, Arthur, with his red eyes, summoned his trusty revolvers and unleashed a barrage of bullets on his foes. His accuracy was uncanny as he picked off his targets one by one, never missing a shot. Trevor, with his orange eyes, roared with fury as he unleashed a wave of destruction with his explosive arsenal. Grenades and rockets flew through the air, causing chaos and devastation wherever they landed. And Joel, with his gray eyes, used his survival skills to outwit his opponents. He set traps and ambushes, catching the others off guard and gaining the upper hand in the battle. The four brutes clashed with each other in a spectacular display of power and skill. Shockwaves and explosions rocked the world as they unleashed their full potential, causing destruction on an unimaginable scale. As the battle raged on, the snowfall became heavier and heavier, covering the world in a blanket of white. The walkers that roamed the land were blown away by the force of the brutes' attacks, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. But amidst the chaos and destruction, a new threat emerged. 3 toxic snakes, resembling king cobras, rattlesnakes, and black mambas, appeared in a showdown of epic proportions. Their purple glowing eyes unleashed a wave of energy that threatened to consume everything in its path. The brutes, realizing the danger they faced, put aside their differences and joined forces to take on the formidable foes. Working together, they combined their powers and unleashed a devastating attack that sent the snakes reeling. As the dust settled and the snow began to clear, the world was left in ruins. The once peaceful landscape was now a battleground, scarred by the fierce battle that had taken place. But despite the destruction, a sense of unity and camaraderie had emerged among the brutes. They had faced a common enemy and had come out victorious, proving that even the most unlikely of allies could work together to overcome any obstacle. And so, as they stood amidst the wreckage of the world they had fought so hard to protect, Kiryu, Trevor, Arthur, and Joel knew that they were not just low-tier gaming brutes anymore. They were warriors, heroes, and protectors of the realm, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them in the future. Words. 480. The 4 low-tier gaming brutes, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, found themselves suddenly engulfed in a gaseous substance from a meteor from outer space while traversing the in-game world of Telltale's The Walking Dead. As they were exposed to the mysterious gas, they began to feel strange and soon discovered that they were infected and corrupted by its effects. Their eyes began to glow in different colors, green for Kiryu, red for Arthur, orange for Trevor, and gray for Joel. As they stumbled to the ground, writhing in pain, they witnessed their bodies undergo a transformation. Long sleeves and pants materialized on their bodies, covering them completely. Their footwear became indestructible, shielding their feet. They were now adorned in attire befitting their new, otherworldly powers. With newfound strength and agility, the glowing-eyed characters engaged in a fierce battle with one another. Each utilized their unique fighting styles, augmented by the power of their glowing eyes. The brightness of their eyes increased, enhancing their combat abilities and summoning weapons with unlimited ammo. The once ordinary characters now possessed extraordinary abilities, showcasing anime-style backlighting postures as they unleashed devastating attacks upon each other. Shockwaves and explosions reverberated throughout the snow-covered world, blowing away walkers and wreaking havoc on the environment. Their glowing eyes not only granted them incredible strength but also the ability to heal and regenerate from injuries. Broken and torn parts of their clothing were magically restored as they continued their relentless combat. As the battle raged on, the sky filled with snowfall, endlessly blanketing the world. The intensity of their clash only escalated, with the 4 warriors unleashing increasingly powerful shockwaves and explosions, creating a spectacle of fire, smoke, and fireworks. Amidst the chaos, a 3-way showdown emerged between the powerful purple-eyed adversaries, king cobras, rattlesnakes, and black mambas. Their attacks combined to create a force of nature, shaking the very foundation of the world they inhabited. The spectacle was both mesmerizing and terrifying, a display of power beyond comprehension. The battles between the glowing-eyed warriors and the venomous snakes continued unabated, each striving to emerge victorious in this supernatural conflict. As the snow fell endlessly, the world was consumed by the clash of titans, a battle that would leave a lasting mark on the land and its inhabitants. The glowing-eyed warriors fought with all their might, their powers intertwining in a dazzling display of strength and skill. In the end, only one would remain standing, their glowing eyes the only remnants of the incredible power they had wielded. The world would never be the same, forever changed by the events that transpired in the snow-covered expanse of Telltale's The Walking Dead. Words. 448. The world of Telltale's Walking Dead was never the same since the arrival of Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller. Once low-tier gaming brutes, they now possessed glowing eyes and powers beyond imagination. As they clashed and fought relentlessly in the snow-covered world, their glowing eyes emanated a bright light, illuminating the darkness around them. The 4 warriors, each with their unique fighting style, unleashed their weapons with unlimited ammo, creating chaos and destruction wherever they went. The ground shook with the force of their blows, sending shockwaves and explosions rippling through the air. Kiryu, with his green glowing eyes, moved with speed and agility, striking his opponents with precision and skill. His long-sleeve shirt and pants flowed behind him, adding to his mysterious aura. Arthur, with his red glowing eyes, used brute strength and determination to overpower his foes. His long coat billowed in the wind, a symbol of his fiery personality and unyielding spirit. Trevor, with his orange glowing eyes, fought with reckless abandon, his wild and unpredictable nature making him a formidable opponent. His long-sleeve shirt and pants were torn and tattered, a reflection of his chaotic energy. Joel, with his gray glowing eyes, was the calmest of the group, his calculated moves and strategic thinking making him a deadly adversary. His long-sleeve shirt and pants were practical and utilitarian, a stark contrast to the other's flamboyant attire. As the battle raged on, the walkers that roamed the world were no match for the four warriors. The ground was littered with debris and bodies, the air filled with smoke and smog from the constant explosions. But amidst the chaos and destruction, a three-way showdown emerged between the toxic snakes, king cobras, rattlesnakes, and black mambas. Their purple glowing eyes locked in a fierce competition, as they unleashed their own brand of terror upon the world. The shockwaves and explosions reached a crescendo, creating a cacophony of sound and fury that reverberated throughout the land. The snow fell endlessly, a blanket of white covering the battlefield in a surreal and otherworldly beauty. As the warriors fought on, their glowing eyes burning bright with intensity, it became clear that this battle was not just about defeating their opponents. It was about testing their limits, pushing themselves beyond what they thought possible, and emerging victorious in the face of insurmountable odds. And so, the four low-tier gaming brutes continued to clash and wrestle, their powers growing stronger with each passing moment. The world of Telltale's Walking Dead would never be the same again, as the glowing-eyed warriors carved a path of destruction and chaos through the snow-covered landscape, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Words. 453. The snow continued to fall relentlessly, creating a stark contrast to the chaos and destruction happening all around in the world of the Telltale's Walking Dead in-game world. Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, once low-tier gaming brutes, now found themselves in a battle of epic proportions, their glowing eyes shining with newfound power and intensity. The gaseous substance from the meteor had infected and corrupted them, granting them unimaginable abilities and transforming their appearance. Their long sleeves and pants, indestructible footwear, and glowing winter jackets were a stark reflection of the power they now possessed. As they clashed and fought with one another, their anime-style backlighting postures and glowing eyes only added to the spectacle of destruction unfolding before them. Each of them had their own unique fighting style, and as they unleashed their weapons with unlimited ammo, the snow around them was constantly blown away by shockwaves and explosions. The sound of their battle echoed through the snow-covered world, drawing the attention of the walkers that roamed aimlessly around. But even the walkers were no match for the power and ferocity of the four glowing-eyed warriors. The intensity of their fight only increased as they continued to heal and regenerate from every injury, their glowing eyes shining brighter with each passing moment. The air was filled with smoke and gaseous substances, adding to the surreal and chaotic atmosphere of the battlefield. As the three toxic snakes, king cobras, rattlesnakes, and black mambas, engaged in a showdown of their own, the four warriors found themselves in the midst of an endless and destructive clash. The shockwaves and explosions created by their attacks and weapons were relentless, shaking the very foundation of the world around them. But despite the destruction and chaos, there was a sense of exhilaration and thrill in the air. The fast-paced and explosive nature of their combat kept them on the edge of their seats, fueling the adrenaline that coursed through their veins. As the battle raged on, the warriors continued to deliver blow after blow, each one more powerful and destructive than the last. The snow around them turned into a storm of shockwaves, creating a kaleidoscope of colors and lights that illuminated the darkness of the world. The battle seemed to have no end in sight, the combatants locked in a never-ending cycle of destruction and rebirth. And as the world around them trembled with the force of their attacks, a sense of awe and wonder filled the hearts of those who witnessed the spectacle. In the end, the four warriors stood tall in the midst of the chaos, their glowing eyes still burning with power and intensity. The snow continued to fall, the world around them forever changed by the epic battle that had taken place. And as they slowly began to disperse, their long sleeves and glowing winter jackets fading away, a sense of peace settled over the world once more. But the memory of the battle, the intensity of the fight, and the power of their glowing eyes would forever remain etched in the hearts and minds of all who witnessed it. Words. 526. In the vast, snow-covered world of the Telltale's Walking Dead in-game universe, four unlikely allies found themselves inexplicably transformed by a mysterious meteor from outer space. Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, four low-tier gaming brutes, were now glowing-eyed and clad in long-sleeved shirts and pants, their bodies covered from head to toe with indestructible armor. As they stood face to face, their glowing eyes shimmered with power and each of them adopted a unique fighting style. Kiryu, with his green eyes, moved with lightning speed and precision, striking his opponents with deadly accuracy. Arthur, with his red eyes, fought with brute strength, his every blow causing tremors in the snowy landscape. Trevor, with his orange eyes, unleashed a barrage of bullets and explosions, wreaking havoc wherever he went. Joel, with his gray eyes, moved with silent but deadly efficiency, taking down his foes with stealth and precision. The four warriors clashed in a spectacular display of power and skill, their bodies moving in perfect synchronization as they unleashed a torrent of attacks and counterattacks. The sound of their blows echoed across the snow-covered landscape, each strike sending shockwaves rippling through the air. But it was not just their physical prowess that set them apart. As they fought, their glowing eyes emitted a blinding light, illuminating the snowy landscape in a dazzling display of power. The snow fell endlessly around them, creating a surreal and otherworldly backdrop to their epic battle. As the fight raged on, the warriors summoned weapons out of thin air, each one more powerful than the last. Swords, guns, and explosives filled the air, the sound of gunfire and explosions drowning out all other noises. Walkers, the undead creatures that roamed the world, were blown away by the sheer force of the warriors' attacks, their bodies disintegrating into nothingness. The intensity of the battle reached a fever pitch as the warriors unleashed their ultimate attacks. Kiryu's green eyes shimmered with power as he unleashed a devastating flurry of punches and kicks, each blow sending shockwaves rippling through the air. Arthur's red eyes burned with rage as he unleashed a storm of bullets and explosives, tearing through everything in his path. Trevor's orange eyes blazed with intensity as he unleashed a barrage of fire and explosions, engulfing the battlefield in flames. Joel's gray eyes glowed with a cold, calculated fury as he struck with deadly precision, taking down his foes with ruthless efficiency. As the warriors fought, their attacks and counterattacks created an endless storm of fire, smog, and explosions. The snow-covered landscape transformed into a chaotic battleground of destruction. The shockwaves and explosions caused by their attacks were so powerful that they created a constant storm of chaos and destruction, threatening to tear the world apart. But even as the warriors fought with all their might, they could not escape the inevitable outcome of their battle. As the snow fell endlessly around them, their bodies battered and bruised, they realized that their fight would never end. They were trapped in an eternal battle, their glowing eyes shimmering with power as they fought on, their destiny intertwined with the fate of the world. And so, the four warriors continued their eternal battle, their glowing eyes shining brightly in the darkness, their every blow echoing across the snow-covered landscape. As the snow fell endlessly around them, they knew that their fight would never end, their fate forever tied to the world they fought to protect. Words. 580. As the four gaming brutes continued to fight endlessly and explosively, the surrounding landscape seemed to be collapsing under the sheer force of their power. Buildings crumbled, trees were uprooted, and the ground itself seemed to shake with each devastating blow. Kiryu Kazuma, with his green glowing eyes, moved with lightning-fast speed, striking out with powerful punches and kicks that seemed to crack the very air around him. Arthur Morgan, his eyes a fierce shade of red, wielded a flaming sword that left trails of fire in its wake as he clashed with his opponents. Trevor Phillips, his eyes burning a bright orange, unleashed a barrage of explosive attacks that sent shockwaves rippling through the air, causing explosions to erupt all around him. Joel Miller, with his gray eyes shining with an eerie light, moved with precision and skill, his movements almost dance-like as he dodged and weaved through the chaos. The four brutes seemed to be evenly matched, each one pushing themselves to their limits as they battled for dominance. But as the fight raged on, a dark energy began to seep from the ground, swirling around them like a malevolent force. Suddenly, a voice boomed out from the darkness, deep and resonant. "You fools have unleashed a power you cannot control," it warned, echoing through the battlefield. The gaming brutes paused for a moment, glancing around warily at the shifting shadows. Before they could react, the dark energy coalesced into a massive, shadowy figure that towered over them, its eyes glowing with a cold, malevolent light. "I am the embodiment of chaos and destruction," it intoned, its voice like the rumble of thunder. "And now, you shall face the consequences of your actions." With a deafening roar, the shadowy figure launched itself at the gaming brutes, its dark form moving with unnatural speed and strength. Kiryu, Arthur, Trevor, and Joel found themselves fighting for their lives against this new, monstrous foe, their glowing eyes shining brightly as they unleashed all of their power in a desperate bid to survive. The battle raged on, each side trading devastating blows and unleashing explosive attacks that rocked the very foundations of the earth. The landscape around them was torn apart, reduced to nothing but rubble and debris as the combatants fought with all of their might. But as the dust began to settle and the echoes of battle faded away, it was clear that the gaming brutes had emerged victorious. The shadowy figure lay defeated at their feet, dissolving into nothingness as the dark energy that had controlled it dissipated into the air. As the four brutes caught their breath, their glowing eyes slowly returned to their normal colors, the darkness that had surrounded them lifting like a veil. They looked at each other, a sense of camaraderie and respect forming between them as they realized the true extent of their power. From that day on, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller were known throughout the gaming world as the legendary Four, a team of unstoppable warriors who had faced the ultimate challenge and emerged victorious. And as they continued on their adventures, their glowing eyes serving as a reminder of the incredible power that they wielded, they knew that nothing could stand in their way. Words. 548. It was a night like no other, when a gaseous meteor from outer space crashed into the earth, releasing a mysterious and powerful energy that infected four low-tier gaming brutes, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller. As the energy coursed through their bodies, they felt their very essence being corrupted and transformed. Their eyes started glowing with different colors, green for Kiryu, red for Arthur, orange for Trevor, and gray for Joel. The four men found themselves in a dark void, their front body parts hidden under darkness while their back and rear body parts were exposed to a bright light energy. In a moment of intense power, they each summoned outfits that covered their entire bodies, from head to toe. They were now clad in long-sleeve shirts, long pants, and indestructible footwear and shoes. With their newfound powers and abilities, Kiryu, Trevor, Arthur, and Joel dashed at each other with impossibly fast speed and agility. In a stylish slow-motion fashion, they began to clash in a battle unlike anything the world had ever seen. Their blows were explosive, their attacks shockwave-inducing, creating a spectacle of fire, smoke, and smog that enveloped the landscape. As the fight raged on, the four men gained the ability to summon weapons out of thin air, adding another layer of intensity to their battle. Their eyes glowed brighter as they increased their strength, speed, and battle IQ. They could heal and regenerate themselves in an instant, seemingly invincible in the face of their opponents' attacks. The landscape around them continued to explode and burst into flames, a never-ending cycle of destruction as they clashed endlessly. Their weapons became more powerful, their attacks more devastating, as they pushed each other to their limits. As the fight went on, the intensity only grew, with each man unleashing their full potential in a bid to defeat their rivals. The smog around them crackled with energy, the shockwaves reverberating throughout the void. It was a battle of epic proportions, a clash of titans that seemed to have no end in sight. But deep within them, a spark of realization began to dawn. As they fought with all their might, they started to question the purpose of their endless conflict. Was there a way out of this eternal struggle, a way to break free from the cycle of destruction and chaos? As Kiryu, Trevor, Arthur, and Joel continued to clash, their eyes met in a moment of shared understanding. They knew that they had to find a way to end the fight, to break the cycle and forge a new path forward. With a final burst of power, they unleashed a joint attack that shattered the darkness around them, creating a blinding light that enveloped them all. When the light faded, they found themselves standing on solid ground, the void gone and the landscape around them untouched. They looked at each other, no longer enemies but allies in a journey towards redemption and peace. And so, Kiryu, Trevor, Arthur, and Joel set off together, their eyes still glowing but now with a newfound purpose. As they walked into the unknown, they knew that their past conflicts had brought them together for a reason, to show them that true strength lies not in endless battle, but in unity and understanding. And with that, their story continued, a tale of growth, redemption, and the power of friendship in the face of adversity. In a world filled with chaos and destruction, they stood together as a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Words, 604. The clash of the four low-tier gaming brutes, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, was nothing short of a spectacle to behold. As they stood facing each other, their glowing eyes shimmering with power and intensity, the air crackled with electricity and tension. The gaseous meteor from outer space had infected and corrupted them, granting them unimaginable strength, speed, and agility. Kiryu, with his green glowing eyes, moved with lightning speed, his fists ablur as he unleashed a flurry of punches at Arthur, whose red glowing eyes blazed with fury. Arthur deftly dodged and countered with a powerful kick that sent Kiryu flying through the air, crashing into the ground with a resounding thud. Meanwhile, Trevor, with his orange glowing eyes, was locked in a brutal battle with Joel, whose gray glowing eyes bore a steely determination. The two clashed with a ferocity that shook the very ground beneath them, their attacks sending shockwaves rippling through the air. The landscape around them was a mess of fire, smoke, and debris as their explosive blows caused the ground to tremble and crack. But despite the destruction, the four brutes showed no signs of slowing down, their eyes burning with an intensity that seemed to consume them from within. As the battle raged on, each of them began to tap into their newfound abilities, summoning weapons out of thin air and unleashing devastating attacks on their opponents. The air was filled with the sounds of clashing steel and ear-splitting explosions as they pushed themselves to the limit, each determined to emerge victorious. But as the fight continued, a sense of unease began to creep in. It was as if the very fabric of reality was beginning to fray, the energy radiating from their glowing eyes threatening to tear the world apart. And yet, they pressed on, locked in a never-ending cycle of violence and destruction. As the hours turned into days, and days into weeks, the four brutes found themselves trapped in a never-ending loop of battle, their bodies battered and bruised but never breaking. Time seemed to lose all meaning as they fought on, their glowing eyes burning brighter and brighter with each passing moment. Eventually, as the landscape around them lay in ruins and the skies above crackled with energy, the four brutes came to a realization. They were no longer in control of their own destinies, their bodies and minds consumed by the power of the meteor that had changed them forever. With a final, desperate effort, they unleashed all of their remaining strength in one last, cataclysmic attack. The force of their combined power was enough to shatter reality itself, tearing a hole in the fabric of the universe and plunging them into a void of endless darkness. And there, in that timeless void, the four brutes continued to fight, their glowing eyes the only light in a sea of darkness. For eternity they battled, their forms locked in an eternal struggle that would never end. And as the stars burned out and the galaxies collapsed around them, the four brutes remained, their eyes shining brightly in the darkness, a monument to the power of their corrupted souls. And so they would remain, forever locked in combat, their spirits bound together for all of eternity. Words, 551. The four low-tier gaming brutes, Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, and Joel Miller, found themselves completely infected and corrupted by a gaseous meteor from outer space. As a result, they developed glowing eyes of different colors, green for Kiryu, red for Arthur, orange for Trevor, and gray for Joel. Their bodies were hidden under darkness, with only their glowing eyes visible under the anime-style backlighting. Magically, they summoned outfits that covered their entire bodies, preparing for an epic battle. With impossibly powerful speed and agility, they dashed towards each other in a stylish slow-motion action-packed manner. Combining elements of the Matrix and anime, they began an endless and disastrous fight, exchanging explosive blows and shockwave-inducing attacks. As they fought, they gained the ability to summon weapons out of thin air, increasing the intensity of their battle. Their eyes not only enhanced their strength and speed but also allowed them to heal and regenerate instantly. The landscape around them exploded in a flurry of fire, smoke, and shockwaves as they continued to clash endlessly. Meanwhile, John Marston, with bluish glowing eyes, and the GTA 5 duo, Michael DeSanta and Franklin Clinton, with blue and green eyes respectively, engaged in a similar eternal battle in a distant area. Their eyes transformed their minds into energy-based substances and AI-like substances, enhancing their abilities and increasing their speed and power. John Marston and the GTA 5 duo summoned outfits and weapons, exchanging powerful and destructive attacks. Shockwaves reverberated across the area as they fought endlessly, the intensity of their glowing eyes increasing. The battles between the two groups seemed never-ending, as they clashed for eternity. The landscape around them continued to explode and burst into flames, with no end in sight. The glowing eyes of the fighters shone brightly, fueling their endless conflict. The thrill of the battle consumed them, as they pushed their powers to the limit and beyond. Despite the destruction and chaos, the fighters found a sense of purpose in their eternal struggle. Their glowing eyes reflected their determination and resolve, as they continued to fight relentlessly. The battles between the two groups of gaming brutes raged on, with no clear winner in sight. As they clashed, a sense of unity and camaraderie formed between the fighters. They understood each other's strengths and weaknesses, pushing themselves to new levels of power and skill. The landscape around them transformed into a battlefield of epic proportions, as the glow of their eyes lit up the night sky. The battles continued unabated, the fighters locked in an eternal conflict that seemed to have no end. The thrill of the fight fueled their determination, as they pushed themselves to new limits of power and strength. The glowing eyes of the gaming brutes shone brightly in the darkness, a symbol of their eternal struggle and undying spirit. And so, the battles between Kiryu Kazuma, Trevor Phillips, Arthur Morgan, Joel Miller, John Marston, Michael DeSanta, and Franklin Clinton raged on, as they fought endlessly and disastrously for eternity, their glowing eyes a testament to their unyielding resolve and unending determination. Words. 517.